Well, if I can get control of my mouse, here we'll get going. I know why they called these things mice because you never know when it's going to go where it's supposed to. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study of paper 52, Planetary Mortal Epics. We're on page 594, the original book, or paper 52, section 4, paragraph 5. And let's say a little prayer and we'll get started. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for these wonderful people that come and listen to our videos each and every day. We thank you for all those out there that benefit from these videos. We pray that you'll open our hearts and minds that we might share it with one another and prepare ourselves for the mansion world and the next things to come. And we thank you greatly for preparing this for us and allowing us this little peek sneak into what's coming in the future. We say this in the name of your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, and there's Gary. All right, Gary, you ready to read?
After the initial visitation of a magisterial sun, the races soon effect their economic liberation. The daily work required to sustain one's independence would be represented by 2.5 hours of your time. It is perfectly safe to liberate such ethical and intelligent mortals. Such refined peoples well know how to utilize leisure for self-improvement and planetary advancement. This age witnesses the further purification of the racial stocks by the restriction of reproduction among the less fit and poorly endowed individuals.
Okay, last time we were talking about post-magisterial sun men in section 4. And as you know, we have not had a magisterial sun on this planet yet. We had a creator sun instead. So it kind of upset our timeline. But on a normal planet, that's what they're talking about here. On a normal planet, after the magisterial sun visits a planet, normally their economy gets to the point where they're liberated from working so much that it only takes about 2.5 hours a day to sustain each and every individual on the planet. So they have a very short work day, which gives people more time for leisure and self-improvement and planetary advancement. Okay. And it also mentions here, but by this time too, when we were talking last week and the time before that about how by this time most of the planets have cleaned up their racial inheritance by getting rid of all defective people by now from Adam because of Adam and Eve. Now, we did not do that either because we didn't get enough of the violet blood to do that. So by this time, most planets have restricted reproduction to only the most fit individuals so that, what is that? Where did that come from? I don't know. Only the most fit individuals are allowed to reproduce so that the population's DNA keeps improving and becomes more and more intelligent, that sort of thing. So that's what they're talking about here. And that's where we were last week. Okay. William, will you take the next one, please?
Sure. The political, government, and social administration of the races continue to improve, self-government being fairly well established by the end of this age. By self-government, we refer to the highest type of representation, government, representative government. Such worlds advance and honor only those leaders and rulers who are the most fit to bear social and political responsibilities.
Well, we surely haven't really reached that. We're not even in that ballpark yet. So that's what happens over time. You start electing the best people to do the job, and only those who are qualified get the job. All
Yep.
right. Rodney, would you take the next one for us, please?
Yes. During this epoch, the majority of the world mortals are adjuster and dwelt. But even yet, the bestowal of divine monitors is not always universal. The adjusters of fusion destiny are not yet bestowed upon all planetary mortals. It is still necessary for the well creatures to choose the mystery monitors.
Now, this is for planets that not had a bestowal sun that's done a bestowal on the planet, because we know the spirit of truth is not poured out on the planet until a bestowal sun, which is normally a magisterial sun, comes and the spirit of truth is bestowed on the planet uh, when he leaves, right? When he dies, and then he comes back and bestows the spirit of truth, just like Jesus did after his death, right? So that's the normal thing. So that's why on some of these planets, on the first magisterial that comes, if they don't do a bestowal mission, then the adjusters are still not bestowed universally. Okay.
Roger?
So, yeah.
I always thought the when the mystery when the magisterial sun first appeared on a normal world, it was always a bestowal.
Not necessarily. No, yeah, that's not necessarily true. There's lots of magisterial missions that happen before the bestowal mission actually happens normally, because most of them are changes of epochs, so they have a adjudication, and that's when most of the magisterial sons come. They have to be there for the adjudication. Now, if they come in physical form, that becomes a bestowal. The thing of it is, there's two types of bestowals, and this is kind of confusing in the book. There's a bestowal where a magisterial son can appear as a full-grown mortal, just like a Melchizedek, right?
Correct.
That is different than the bestowal, just like Jesus did, where they are actually born of women. Okay, so that's the two different types. It's the one where they're actually born of a woman, and then they are raise up just like we do and have a normal life, and then they eventually die, and that's when the spirit of truth. So that's the one where they normally bestow the spirit of truth, not the other one if they come from pre-mission before the bestowal mission. Okay. And it's interesting because a planet can have multiple magisterial missions where these magisterial sons appear on a planet as men. They can have multiple of these in the history of a planet, but they'll only have one in which they're born of a woman, and that's the one where the spirit of truth is poured out. Okay. So, it depends on each and every planet. And it's interesting because they talk about, you're going to see in a paragraph coming up here not too far away, that many times the time periods between these bestowals are 10, 25, 50,000 years. That's pretty common. So, seeing that we just had Jesus here 2,000 years ago, we probably won't be due for another magisterial son mission for another 8 or 10,000 years, more than likely, right?
Too bad.
We'll all be gone before that.
So.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Gary, would you take the next one?
During the closing ages of the dispensation, society begins to return to more simplified forms of living. The complex nature of an advancing civilization is running its course, and mortals are learning to live more naturally and effectively. And this trend increases with each succeeding epoch. This is the age of the flowering of art, music, and higher learning. Physical sciences have already reached their height of development. Determination of this age on an ideal world witnesses the fullness of a great religious awakening, a worldwide spiritual enlightenment. And this extensive arsenal of the
Arousal.
arousal, excuse me,
Yeah.
this extensive arousal of the spiritual natures of the races is the signal for the arrival of the bestowal sun and for the inauguration of the fifth mortal epoch.
Okay, that's the next epic to come we're talking about, right? Okay, and it's interesting here because they talk about in this paragraph that as as civilization advances and runs its normal, course, you see these pictures where we got flying cars and beautiful buildings and all this, but it probably will not look like that at all because it says here that people learn to live more naturally and effectively.
Simply.
Simply. So we would be reverting back to a more natural state of existence. So the technology will have run its course and will go kind of backwards if you think about it, because it's a more comfortable way to live, right? All right, so it's just the opposite of what you would think. And this is the flowering of the age of art and music and higher learning and things like that, because all the physical sciences has already reached their normal development to the maximum they can. It's kind of funny too, because when we study these epics and these ages, it talks about how when Adam and Eve came, evolutionary wise, we had we had reached the apex of human beings developing to their apex of development. And that's why Adam and Eve came, to give us an uplift. And you wouldn't have thought that 38,000 years ago, we would have been at our apex of development, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
But that's what they're telling us. Okay.
Roger, if you think a minute, and if there's any truth, and I don't want to get into that angle of the debate, but if what Dr. Greer is saying about that we have 0 point energy harnessed and everybody could have a little unit power giving all the power you need.
Right.
If you stop and think about that, if that could be implanted in everybody's house, you have what they're referring to.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
You would
Okay, so
have reached the
we are
technological
possibly,
apex, right?
huh?
That's what he's talking about. We would have reached the technological apex because we wouldn't need a power system, right? Because you'd have one in your house already. Probably we'd have a water source system, it'd take care of electronics, water, and all this is based on magnetic fields and things like that. And there's stuff out there right now that can do that. So,
Mhm.
If you think about it, if you take my house is in a subdivision, okay, if I had single source energy, say electric box, like we mentioned,
yeah.
okay, I had on my own well, and I have my own septic system. What more do I need?
That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could exist very easily. It's kind of funny too because um, I was listening to the five before while I was waiting to start the meeting, and they were talking about how Trump and Elon Musk were talking about this last night that it's going to take more energy to run AI than is more than we're currently capable of.
Hmm.
Okay. So they say right now, if AI was totally working, that all the energy it would require to run AI would be more than all the available energy of the entire United States.
You know, this is an interesting prospect because we have electric cars, which demand
Right.
more than we can produce
Yeah.
in our traditional ways.
Right.
We have AI, which is more than we can produce in our traditional ways. By them manipulating, or whether they're doing it intentionally or subversively, I don't know. But by them doing this, they're ushering in the demand for that box.
Yes, they are. And it's like Dr. Greer said, in his videos and stuff like that. It's going to get to a point they're not going to have a choice, but they're going to have to go to it, because there's no way for us to produce enough energy to sustain the planet right now. So, sooner or later, they're going to have to let go of these technologies, and they'll figure out a way to let go of it when they can make money out. That's
Of course.
basically what the problem is.
Yep.
That's what it boils down
What
to.
was it? Edison or Westinghouse said that they're not interested in anything they can't put a meter on.
Yeah, well, that's the exact reason why Tesla never his system of powering the world with his towers, magnetic towers, never went through because they couldn't figure out a way to meter it,
Yep.
So just the way it is. All right, sweetie, you're back up again.
On many worlds, it develops that the planet is not made ready for a bestowal sun by one magisterial mission. In that event, there will be a second, even a succession of magisterial sons, each of whom will advance the races from one dispensation to another until the planet is made ready for the gift of the bestowal sun. On the second and subsequent missions, the magisterial sons may or may not be incarnated. But no matter how many magisterial sons may appear, and they may also come as such after the bestowal sun, the advent of each one marks the end of one dispensation and the beginning of another.
That's what we were just talking about, So we
Yeah,
might have,
answer my question.
yeah, you might have 6 or 7 magisterial sons that appear on the planet in the physical form before you actually have the bestowal sun, which will pour out the spirit of truth. Okay. And they can also do this after the bestowal sun, So in our case, before we get our first magisterial mission, it will be after our bestowal sun because our bestowal sun was Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
So
we're really messed up.
yeah, we're all,
Roger,
yeah.
does the magisterial sun ever come just spiritually?
No. Well, yeah, they do, Rodney, but they're not visible if they come
That's
that
what I'm
way.
saying.
Yeah, they come. They actually, we've had multiple magisterial sons come to the planet already because of the adjudication of each epoch. That's what this whole paper's
Well,
about.
that's true. Okay.
At the end of each epoch, they have to magistrate the planet. So they have to have a magisterial
That's
son come
okay.
to adjudicate the planet and decide who goes on and who doesn't. Okay. So
So
that's
it's the magisterial sons that come every 1,000 or so
that.
years to
Yeah.
let the hordes loose.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. Excuse me.
But we don't know they're here, right?
No, if they were
Okay.
here right now, we would not know it.
Okay.
Now, if this was a normal planet, William, I want to bring this up because it's very, very important. If we were a normal planet still inside the circuits, if we were not in quarantine,
Right.
then we could see the celestial broadcast, the broadcast of the local universe. We could see the super universe broadcast. All these things would be available to us, so we would know if there was an adjudication going on. But we don't have
Okay.
that because we're in quarantine still.
Quarantine.
So this quarantine makes a big difference. We're
Yeah.
outside the spiritual circuit, so we can't. We're kind of shooting in the dark because we don't know what's going on.
Yep.
What in the world? Where did that come from? Right. So, it makes a big difference. All these things makes a difference.
Yeah.
All right, let me go on to the next paragraph. William, will you take this one?
Yep. These dispensations of the magisterial sons cover anywhere from 25,000 to 50,000 years of Urantia time. Sometimes such an epoch is much shorter, or in rare instances, even longer. But in the fullness of time, one of these same magisterial sons will be born as the paradise bestowal son.
Okay, so the time in between can vary greatly. We think 10,000 years is a long time. It's nothing. It really is. So it might be another 50,000 years before they bring another bestowal son to the planet, or even a magisterial son that we can see to the planet. Okay, section 5. We got out of section 4 tonight. I can't believe it. Okay,
Oh,
let's go. Rodney, will you take the next
yes.
one, please?
5. Post bestowal son man. When a certain standard of intellectual and spiritual development is attained on an inhabited world, a paradise bestowal son always arrives. On normal worlds, he does not appear in the flesh until the races have ascended to the highest levels of intellectual development and ethical attainment. But on Urantia, the bestowed son, even your own creator son, appeared at the close of the Adamic dispensation, but that is not the usual order of events on the worlds of space.
Okay, y'all, let me kind of explain something on this paragraph because our creator son showed up at the end of what they call the Adamic dispensation. And now let me kind of explain the problem with that is this. The Adamic dispensation was cut majorly short on our planet because of the default. So since there was no children of Adam and Eve, there were some, but very, very few, since the process of what was supposed to happen with the children of Adam and Eve did not happen. That meant our dispensation, our Adamic dispensation, was really, really short. It probably should have went on another 50,000 years if we'd have had the children of Adam and Eve mixing with the groups, all the different races of the planet, but that did not happen. Okay, so apparently, that number one, they send a Melchizedek. Actually, the Melchizedeks decided that they needed something to keep the concept of God the Father alive. So Melchizedek came, and then 2,000 or 1,800 years after that, Jesus came. And the reason Jesus came and got us off kilter as far as the time goes was that Jesus apparently felt that our planet needed a son of God quickly. And so he chose that this is the one he was going to do his final bestowal on. So that's where everything got off kilter. And because of the work of Melchizedek, the Sethite priest, and the people they sent out to teach people, at the time of Jesus, there was a revival of spiritual concepts in the Jewish faith. Okay, so it was a perfect time for a son of God to come. Okay, and if the Jewish people would have realized this is the Messiah they had been waiting for, then the whole world would have changed in accordance to that. And the way they accepted Jesus and his mission, it would have changed the world tremendously. Okay, but that did not happen. All right. So that's why our creator son appeared at what they considered the close of the Adamic dispensation, because there was nothing else that the dispensation of Adam could have done, because there was no children to keep going. Right? Makes sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
One thing always affects another. Okay. Um, who just read? Did Rob?
I
Did
did.
you? Okay. Gary, would you take the next
Uh, when the worlds have become ripe for spiritualization, the bestowal sun arrives. These sons always belong to the magisterial or vonal order, except in that case, once in each local universe, when the Creator Son prepares for his terminal bestowal on some evolutionary world, as occurred when Michael of Nebon appeared on Urantia to bestow himself upon your mortal races. Only one world in near 10 million can enjoy such a gift. All other worlds are spiritually advanced by the bestowal of a paradise son of the Avonal order.
or the
So we're
magisterial son?
extremely lucky. We won the lottery.
Yeah, we really did because remember, each local universe has 10 million inhabited planets eventually. So only one of them out of each local universe will have the opportunity to host their creator son for his mission, right? His seventh mission. So it's very
Yeah.
Have you
fortunate.
stopped and thought about this a minute? Adam and Eve's children,
Yeah.
their seed or their uplifting
Yes.
is predominantly, not predominantly, but the Jewish race have got a more than their fair share of that uplift, is my understanding. Number
Right.
two,
Yeah.
okay, they've been visited by Melchizedek. All
Right.
right. So that's two bestowals, that two gifts from God.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Michael comes and they reject him.
Right.
Shame
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a miracle that God hasn't spanked him.
Well, you have to remember too that we're talking about a planet that's been in rebellion for 200,000 years too, so that fact in itself opens up possibilities of evil that normal planets would not even have.
Yeah.
Okay. It really wouldn't. So it changes everything by quite a bit.
Are
All right.
the other planets that rebelled are suffering like us?
Yeah, I'm sure they are, Gary, because they're cut off from the circuits too. So they're evolving at different levels, at different rates, according to where they are when they went into rebellion. And some of them are probably very barbaric, and some of them are maybe highly technical and advanced. So it's a great variation. And the hard part about that is this, Gary. If they are more of an advanced planet, okay, when they went into rebellion like this, let's speculate for a second, okay? If they're an advanced planet in which they have gotten to the point where they've discovered how to negotiate the space outside their world, like going to the moon, like we did, okay? That sets them up for a situation which we could end up with something like a Star Wars going on,
No,
Yeah.
no.
you know,
I am
because
so sick of war.
yeah, because they are of a barbarian type mindset. Now, think of it this way, probably because of the quarantine, they're not allowed to leave the planet. Okay. That's probably why that has not happened because
Then
we
would
know
that mean that our planet is being released from the because we've gone to the moon, allegedly at least?
yeah, we've gone to the moon, but they probably have how do I say this? A quota of how far out we will be allowed to go and how much we interact with any other planet. Now, so give you let's continue speculation for a second. If we are under quarantine and these other planets that are not under quarantine are close enough to interact with our planet. And we know that that's the case because why? The surgeons of Avalon. Okay.
The what?
So the surgeons of Avalon. It
You
was
lost me.
the surgeons of Avalon were the surgeons that put the bodies, the beings in the bodies for both the Caligasha 100 and Adam and Eve. Okay. They're from another planet. I can't hear you, Rodney. Rodney,
Avalon that's in our universe.
and close to our universe, right?
Oh,
So it's our closest neighbor, inhabited
Okay.
neighbor. Okay,
It's a planet.
it's a planet,
a planet in our universe?
not in our local universe, but close enough. I guess it got its own star system and all that, but it's our closest neighbor. Okay,
Hmm. And
now
that's where Adam and Eve and
they use the surgeons of Avalon to do the material technical stuff along with the life carriers to build bodies for both Adam and Eve and the Caligastra 100.
And Melchizedek.
And no, Melchizedek, no, that's
Oh,
totally
okay.
different. Okay. Now, I hope I'm right about that. It may have just been the Caligastra 100. Maybe it was not Adam and Eve. I'm pretty sure it was Adam and Eve too, though. Either way, but we know that because of the surgeons of Avalon, there are other entities that have come to the planet and some kind of ships or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That part Ancient Aliens got right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. The question is this: if the quarantine requires that we are not allowed to leave the planet to a certain point, it makes you wonder if some of these UFOs we see flying around the planet and stuff job is to keep us from only going to a certain point.
Mm.
Think of it that way.
you
So
mean
when
so
we
we can't become a warrior-like planet in space?
bingo, you got it.
I've got another theory for you. Okay.
All right.
These are tourists from other planets saying, look at those primitive people.
Well,
Yeah.
we know that's the case anyway because of
Yeah.
the student visitors, right?
Yep.
But I'm wondering if some of the stuff we're seeing and we're experiencing, they could be Morantia beings, it could be a lot of different things, but somebody has the responsibility to keep us on the planet. We know that this is the case because of why? The secondary midwayers. The
Yep.
secondary midwayers are able to leave the planet at will. They have to take an oath not to do so.
Well, here's something that's going to throw bollocks in your works, maybe. It is speculated, I guess. I don't know the proper term, but that we do have spaceships that, they can travel to Mars just as easy as you and I can travel to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Um, allegedly, who knows? Uh, so I don't know. You know,
But the big thing though, Gary, is whether we can interact with another society
that
outside
may
of,
be,
you know what I'm
but it
saying?
seems like from the conspiracy stuff I've read, that is happening, you know.
Oh, I've read the book. What was that doctor's name that says he got all this information? Like there's a space force that goes to Jupiter or something like that. Yeah, the book we read. All of that. The thing of it is, you can't trust everything you read. You know, you,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you don't
No,
know
I've
you don't know what's true and what's not. You know what I'm saying? All I know is according to the book, we're under quarantine, and how far that quarantine goes before they step in and say, you can't go, you can't do this. I don't know. You know,
I don't know.
no way
We
to
have the
tell.
unfortunate thing of be given free will.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we should be given total free will.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff going on that the government doesn't tell us. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff about going to the moon that they didn't share with us. And, you know, there's all the speculation about the other side of the moon, if there's bases there or whatever, you know,
Well,
anything is possible. All I know is this: for us to interact with other societies, Earth, planetoid societies, we would not be allowed to do that unless they too were in quarantine.
Right.
You see
I
what
know
I'm
one
saying?
thing, you should not deny the truth
Yeah,
to perpetuate a falsehood.
that's right. Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, in my opinion.
What do you mean that's what we're doing? These,
Well, for
the
Well,
instance, if
people, the
there was a
people that,
base on the other side of the moon,
yeah,
I don't know if there is or isn't.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't either.
Okay. Why not tell the truth?
Yeah.
If we have contact with other celestial beings, why not tell the truth? You know,
I
they're
don't,
saying, oh, we
I,
can't do that. The society would break down because of the Christian belief that we're the only human beings in existence in all
yeah,
of the universe.
I don't believe
I
that
don't
at
buy
all.
that garbage.
Yeah, I don't either.
no.
So that's what I'm saying. We're denying the truth to perpetuate a myth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And that's all about this stuff, Gary, because for one thing's for sure, if there's 36 other planets like ours that are in quarantine with us, they will not be out of quarantine either until the adjudication is finished by the Ancients of Days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, are they allowed to communicate with us? I doubt it. Okay. And so some of the stuff we're seeing in space and all this stuff may be the celestial authorities keeping us in check to make sure that we don't communicate with other beings, or to keep us from blowing ourselves up or whatever. You know, we don't know. All we're doing is speculating at best. You know, hi Stephanie, not
Hi, Stephanie.
nice to see you. Um,
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank
So
you so much.
so this is what we have to deal with. We have to deal with whether what you know, the things we know for sure and the things we don't know. All we can go by is what the book tells us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is speculation as far as I'm concerned, you know. I mean, look at it this way. We have sent rovers to Mars. You know, I mean, you know, we've got pictures, we know what's on there and all sorts of stuff. So we're exploring our local, you know, solar system. Now, how far they're going to let us, the celestial authorities are going to let us do that, I don't know. You know, maybe they have a something that we can do our entire local solar system, but if we try to go outside that, it's a problem. Who knows? You know, it doesn't spell that out. One thing's for sure, it's interesting. I was reading something today from one of the from our Thursday night thing. I was studying some stuff getting ready for Thursday, and it was talking about how with each revelation to man, you know, about celestial things, about spiritual things, that sort of thing, it expands our knowledge out. First, it expand our knowledge for the local planet. Then it expanded the next revelation expanded our knowledge to the local, to Michael's local universe. Okay. And then now we have a revelation that expands our knowledge to the super universe, paradise and Havona. It's also expanded our knowledge somewhat to the four outer space levels. So if you think about it, the Urantia book expands our knowledge to almost the known destiny of the entire grand universe and master universe, everything that's out there. Yeah,
Master Universe.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
just just the fact that we have a revelation expanding our knowledge that far out is almost inconceivable if you think about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You know, that's why reading this book is so important, understanding it. You know, I spent 50 years trying to figure all this stuff out. But if I didn't think it was important, I wouldn't have spent this much time on it. You know, I've been playing pool or something, you know. I'm joking.
I have
I'd
a
be,
friend that it kind of marvels at me. He's a Mensa member, and so he thinks he's super smart. Uh, anyway, make a long story short, I gave him the book, and he read down to Melchizedek as Bestowal.
mhm.
Okay, and he's Jewish background, and he says, "Oh, that never happened." Blah 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 blah. You know,
Yeah.
and it does. It's in the Torah when I did the
Mhm.
research. Okay, and he said that, it's all made up by Chicago and all,
Yeah.
and he
I've
was
heard
so
it all at
adamant.
one
I
time.
says,
Yeah.
you got to read people. You know when you can talk to them, when you can when you can
Yeah.
say, you know. So he was so adamant and so convinced and so thinking he was so smart. And I just kind of said, adios.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you. I'm not arguing with you on this. I
Yeah.
says,
Sometimes you
you're
just,
just not ready to accept
that's
this.
right. That's
And
fine. You believe what you want to, turn around and walk away.
it just gets me the I know everything. No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what point I'm trying to make, but I've kind of lost it. But that's okay. So I'll shut up.
All right. Did you just read your? No. Okay. You want to take the next one again for us here?
The bestowed son arrives on a world of high educational culture and encounters a race spiritually trained and prepared to assimilate advanced teachings and to appreciate the bestowal mission. This is an age characterized by the worldwide pursuit of moral culture and spiritual truth. The mortal passion of this dispensation is the penetration of cosmic reality and communion with spiritual reality. The revelations of truth are extended to include the superuniverse. Entirely new systems of education and government grow up to supplant the crude regimes of former times. The joy of living takes on new color, and the reactions of life are exalted to heavenly heights of tone and timbre.
Okay. You notice. Oh, I guess. Oh, I didn't turn off my mic. You notice it says here the new revelations of truth include the super universe there. Do you see that?
Correct.
Okay, so with each new revelation to the planet, and there's going to be many more over, thousands and thousands of years after we're long dead and gone, right? But as these
Right.
new revelations of truth get larger and larger, it increased the joy and the color and the reactions of life of those people that will enjoy those new revelations of truth. The thing of it is, though, it's the problem we have is this. It's talking here about a bestowal son, and of course, the bestowal son's educating people. Okay. But the tricky part is this. We have been given the responsibility of the Urantia book Revelation, the fifth epical revelation. Okay. So
Right.
if the fifth epical revelation is not digested and understood, then the next generation will not be prepared for the expanded knowledge of the next revelation. Does that make sense?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So that's what they're talking about here. With each revelation of truth, it needs to add to the knowledge that's already there. Okay.
We've got a problem.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you figured that out real quick, didn't you?
And you thought I was a little bit slow, didn't you?
No, I never
And
thought
no,
that.
what I'm thinking about, I ran across this with a friend of mine. Um, he said, according to, I forgot the last book in the Bible, I believe it is, said that the Bible cannot be um, changed, but it can be or added to.
No, it can't. Well, according to the Bible, it can't be. They added that after in 390 years after Christ, when they put the books of the Bible together, some of the monks there, the Christian monks, tacked that to the end of the book of Revelation to keep
Mhm.
people from
Yeah, well,
adding to
this
the
particular
canon of the
guy,
Bible.
using him as an example. Um, we used to have breakfast together. Now we don't, because I believe because of that, because shortly thereafter I sent him something that basically I probably shouldn't have known where he was at,
Yeah,
but I was kind of like pushing him, and I probably shouldn't have, because now we talk, but we don't eat breakfast together.
yeah.
And so that's my point. We've kind of gone to another, like uh, Islam. I don't know how we're going to get through to them.
Well, I don't either, but with
Um,
each revelation, there is something within it that adds to every single religion, and that's what makes this so interesting, because when you have places like India and China and Japan and things like that that had beautiful, beautiful religions, what is a if I can remember pronounce it right, Gautama Buddha, the first Buddha. I mean, that guy was right on it. If he had the concept of God the Father, that would have been the religion the whole world had right now. It would have been. Okay. And that's, I mean, that's the basic religion of most of India and most of China, as far as I know. Of course, they have offshoots, but the Sethite priests went into all these areas to teach the concept of Melchizedek, and what came from those concepts of Melchizedek was all these religions, okay, uh, including Islam and all the rest. They all had their origin in the teachings of Melchizedek, every single one of them, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's my understanding that the Islamic religion is made up of basically two sects, and the Shiites, I believe I'm saying that right, I may be wrong, uh, is one of them.
well, really, it's kind of funny because the Jews went attached themselves to Abraham's first son, okay, and the
Right.
Islam attached themselves to the second son, okay, and
Right.
that's where the split came. And so everything that came from the second son ended up in Islam's religion, and everything that came from the first son ended up being the Jewish faith, right? So if,
Yep.
if you understand where all this stuff comes from, we all came from the same sources. It's really strange. And it's really funny because I've said this many, many times over the years, but I still don't understand why they gave the United States the Urantia book when there's more spiritual people in China than there is in the United States. Okay. I mean, it would have made more sense to me if I really believe if they would have used some sort of writing that was going away from the caricatures of China, the Chinese writing. I believe they would have probably given the Urantia book to China first and the United States second. I really
Maybe
do.
it's because of the suppression of the spiritual side of man by the Chinese government.
I could be. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. Maybe Stephanie knows something about that. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I know, Stephanie, did I ever, I don't know if I've told you this, but almost 90% of the pictures that we use on our website for the Urantia book come from China.
Oh,
Hmm.
I didn't know. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. There was a gentleman over in China that I contacted back 11, 12 years ago. He had the website, uh, your Encyclopedia Urantia is what it was taught. It was. Okay. And so I contacted him, email, and I said, I love the pictures you have on your website. Could I use them to teach my classes? And he says, absolutely. But he says, you got to get them fast because they're making me take them off, the pictures. And I said, who's making you take them off? And he never answered me. So
Government.
probably, I don't know, but almost 90% of the pictures we have throughout both our websites came from a gentleman in China that created all those beautiful pictures. And
That explains why all the figures are short.
So anyway, but that's what I'm saying. You know, there's a lot of spiritual people over there. And like I said, when I was teaching, when was that? Back 2008, dear, we had, in one night, we had 40,000 people listen to our paper from China.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
In one night. So it was interesting.
What's it now?
Huh?
What's
I
it
don't
now?
know because they cut off counting the ones from China. I don't know what it is.
YouTube. I mean, who did that?
It's YouTube. Well, this was Vimeo. This was before I started using YouTube. It was Vimeo back then. So anyway, let's move on. We're getting off kilter here. All right. I don't know who's up. William, I think you're up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I just already did this. Let me change the slide. Okay.
The bestowal Son lives and dies for the spiritual uplift of the mortal races of a world. He establishes the new and living way. His life is an incarnation of paradise truth in mortal flesh. That very truth, even the spirit of truth, in the knowledge of which men shall be free. Praise the
Okay,
Lord.
y'all know what they're talking about here, don't you? The bestowal sons, they're paradise sons. They're not local universe sons. Remember,
Right.
the Most Highs are the Verandadek sons. They're local universe sons. And the Lananandek sons, which we're going to study on the next paper about the Lucifer Rebellion, those are local universe sons. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about deity and we're going to talk about them again. But the bestowal sons, that's the Avonals and the Danals, both paradise sons along with the creator sons. So you have the creator sons, the Avonals, which are the magisterial sons, and then you have the Danals, which are the which are the Trinity teacher sons. Those are the three paradise sons that come to help us. All right.
But the bestowal sons, I always thought that was Jesus.
Well, no, he is our bestowal son, but normally most of the bestowal sons are the Avonals, which are the magisterial sons. So all the magisterial sons, every single one of them have to do bestow themselves 7 times on a planet, just like Jesus did, but they only bestow themselves as a babe once, just like Jesus did. Okay. So, but all the magisterial sons are required to do that along with their magisterial missions. Okay. Rodney, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. On Urantia, the establishment of this new and living way was a matter of fact as well as of truth. The isolation of Urantia and the Lucifer Rebellion had suspended the procedure whereby mortals can pass, upon death, directly to the shores of the mansion worlds. Before the days of Christ, Michael on Urantia also slept on until the dispensational or special millennial resurrections. Even Moses was not permitted to go over to the other side until the occasion of a special resurrection. The fallen planetary prince, Caligastia, contesting such a deliverance. But even since the day of Pentecost, Urantia mortals again may proceed directly to the Urantia spheres.
So from the day of the rebellion, when we went into rebellion with Caligastia, up to the time of Christ's death, okay, that period of time, mortals could not go to the mansion world unless it was by a dispensational resurrection by a magisterial son. Okay. They had at least two that we know of special resurrections. One of them was what? Adam and Eve's children. Remember that?
Yeah.
When
Correct.
Adam and Eve
Okay.
was leaving the garden. The other one, I'm losing my mind.
Oh,
Oh, the other one was Caligastia, the loyal 40 that were loyal in the Caligastia regime, okay, that came with Caligastia. They were resurrected on a special resurrection also. But everyone else that died during that period of time had to wait for a millennial or a epical dispensation to be resurrected. And that was the case all the way up until Pentecost. And then after Pentecost, everything changed. After Pentecost, on the third day, everyone who had reached the third psychic circle, we've talked about that before, everyone who has reached the third psychic circle will be resurrected on the third day if they qualify for survival, right? And that's everyone on the planet's the same way. Now, those who don't qualify will sleep until the next magisterial mission, and they will be resurrected in mass, thousands of them at a time. Okay. Now, why would they do that? Because if they haven't reached the third psychic circle, they have no spiritual base in their life, then they're going to have to be trained from scratch. So they're going to have to be put in special classes to bring them up to speed when they get to the mansion worlds, right?
Yeah.
Remedial classes. Okay. So y'all keep reading this book, and by the time you get to the end of it, you'll probably be pretty close to the third psychic circle. And so when you die on the third day, you'll wake up in the mansion worlds, right? Make sense?
Good.
Makes
Yeah,
Good.
but my whole family won't be there. No, I'm just joking.
They may not be it, but Gary, I got news for you. If they're not there, you won't remember them.
That may be nice.
It's the way it works.
Yeah.
Those who have no spiritual significance aren't memories in your mind any longer. And why is that? Because the thought adjuster saves all memories that are spiritually significant in your life. So when you awaken, you will have no memory of them whatsoever because they did have no spiritual significance in your life because they have no spiritual significance for survival. Okay. So that girlfriend you went out to the movies with at the drive-in, you don't remember her name.
That's a shame because I have a lot of good men.
I was joking with my wife the other day. We was going to lunch in the car, and I said, I went to a lot of drive-ins when I was young, but I can't remember any of them's name I took. Yeah. That's awful, isn't it? Okay, did we just do this? The thing? Okay. Yep, we did. Okay. Oh, we're out of time, aren't we? All
Yeah.
right, we're out of time, folks. So we'll take up 5256 next time. We may eventually get through this paper. Really. If I keep telling stories, we might anyway. Stephanie, we are glad you could join us tonight. Please come see us Thursday if you can.
Yeah. Come back. Come back.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. I really really enjoy, and then I was so excited this morning. Like I couldn't wait. So I joined as soon as I finished work. I was like, I gotta go.
That's great. Well, we're glad you can join us anyway. Excuse me.
You sound extremely young, Stephanie.
Yeah.
We probably need your
Yeah. We need
insight
your,
because we're a bunch of old folks.
yeah. All right. Let's say a little prayer and we'll quit for tonight. Sweetie, could you pray for us?
Heavenly Father, Mother God, we thank you so
You're
much.
muted.
Oops. Yes.
There you go.
Heavenly Father, Mother God, we thank you so much for this opportunity to gather together and to study this wonderful, wonderful work of the Urantia book. And it just enhances our being, our our sense of life here on Earth. It gives it such deep meaning. And we're so very, very grateful. We're so grateful that Roger has studied such a long time intensely and is so committed and is a wonderful teacher. And it's an honor to work with him and be married to him too for me. And just thank you for everything. In your name, Jesus Christ, Michael of Nevedon. Amen.
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 And thank
Amen.
you out there on Facebook and YouTube and Vimeo and all the other platforms that we're on. Thanks for coming and listening to us. Please come see us again. We'll see you next time.
See you Thursday.
See you Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Love you guys.
Bye. Love you guys too.
Yeah.
Thank you. See you next time.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.